Welcome. This is Patrick. You're trading with Prime. Welcome to Sunday's stream, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every week. Should be every week. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I had some mic issues, so let me know if I'm too loud, too quiet, if you can't hear me at all. We'll let some people pile in here. I'm gonna start going over some charts and let you guys start posting your ticker symbols in the watch list underneath the video, the comment section. Please feel free to like the video, share the video. We would like to get as many people as possible and get this out to help as many people as possible. So we're going to go straight into it here. First thing, we're looking at the S&P 500, or actually, rather the spider. And so, I don't know, I kind of have to say, overall, the market looks pretty bullish. Actually, before we do this, I take that back. Let me do something else really quick. We'll get into a little bit of fundamentals. And a couple of things I came across. One was this net percentage of domestic banks tightening standards for loans and firm demands. And the thing I was kind of thinking about is you have a lot of migration, and you have people that are leaving the cities, they're moving to the countries and the countryside and more rural areas, the suburbs maybe even a little bit, but out of the cities. And something I was kind of thinking about is, how is this going to change real estate prices? Is there going to be some sort of shift, or are we already starting to see the shift? I have to say, I work in a city and there is still lack of traffic to and from work. It normally took me 45 minutes to get to work, and now it takes me about 10 to 15 minutes. Welcome. So here's the thing is I'm just fundamentally looking at different things, and I kind of thought about where banks are at, where are they at with the yields. And you had the during the coronavirus crash, you had the Fed come out and they did emergency rate cuts, which I think the market sold off 800 to 1,000 points that day. I don't really remember. It was a pretty bad day. It spooked the market. You know, why was the Fed doing an emergency rate cut? What does the Fed know that we don't know? And of course, that's all looking in the rearview mirror now. But something I kind of thought about is what are the banks going to do to retaliate? What can they do? And all they can really do is tighten lending standards. They can pick, maybe not pick and choose who they lend to, as far as saying like a certain class of people, you know, we're not going to give them loans, but they probably can come out and say, you know what, anyone with a below 850 credit score, we're not going to lend to. And so, as you can kind of see here, it was kind of going up here, and this in blue is U.S. net percentage of domestic banks reporting stronger demand for commercial and industrial loans from large and middle market firms. In orange, you have net percentage of domestic banks tightening standards for C&I loans to large and middle market firms. And so you kind of see a shift here. First, you saw it pull up here, and it almost was beginning to look more and more like a recession. Actually, let's go down to a 5-year, see if it'll do this for me in a year to date. You can kind of see it here, the little grayed out session here, where it was going into a possible recession. And so far, you've seen it kind of pull back a little bit. And this is, you know, I guess this could be good for the market. And maybe the market sees it as one thing and we see it as another. That's something to like keep an eye on, though. Where is the real estate market gonna be at in a couple of years, or even this next year? And so flipping over to this chart, and I'm going to zoom in here, but you have the earnings per share versus the S&P 500. S&P 500 is in blue, and you can kind of see where it widens a little bit. You have the earnings down below the S&P 500s. You know, the market is forward looking, and then you have like the alligator jaws. Well, they kind of come together at a certain point. Like right here, you see it come together in November of 2003. And then it widens again, and then it comes together, and then we went into a recession. Back here, the crash in 2008, the real estate, financial markets. And then so they kind of rally together here over the next, you know, I really want to say 10 years. I mean, you had a little bit of a dip back here in 15 where you saw them come together here. And then they've been rallying a little bit, and you had a lot of things that were going on with, you know, the repo market, the overnight session liquidity. Especially coming into 18-19, you had more volatility pick up due to trade war tensions and the rates the Fed was putting out. So if I go down, if I really zoom in here, this is what I wanted to really look at, is what are we at right now? And if I zoom in just a little bit more, you can kind of see the earnings per share where it cuts through the S&P 500. They both kind of fall together, and what you see recently is you see both of them kind of made a low down here. The thing is that the EPS hasn't really come out yet, not all of it anyway for this year, and so it's kind of interesting to see the EPS not making highs, but the S&P 500 is. So also another thing to just kind of look at, I'll try to put the links to those underneath the video. How's it going, Mark? Now, with all that, you know, yes, turmoil, and you have riots going on in Europe right now. You have a lot of things throughout the country that you just kind of, and throughout the world really, where it doesn't really make sense. I have a lot of traders asking, you know, what's going on with the market? Why are the prices so high? And I don't know. I mean, all we can really do is, bearish as I am fundamentally, as long as we're in a bullish posture in the market, and that's kind of all that matters. I don't know why it is. It's beyond me. There's probably a million reasons why. But the market's looking extremely bullish. And I know the futures are down a little bit, but this overall picture of the market is looking pretty bullish. It looks like it wants to break out. It looks like it wants highs. If I flip to a weekly chart, and since it's Sunday, let's go ahead and do that really quick. We'll just get to a weekly chart, flip through a few of these, and just kind of see what we can see here. It looks like it's consolidating for higher prices. It's just the SPY. I'm gonna go through the charts just one by one. MJ, looks like we're retesting the candle, the reversal candle from last week. We're retesting the highs. The MJ position that we're in right now looks pretty good. I'm still in that position. Not sure I want to close it out within the next year, so we'll see. Biotech had a pretty amazing week. In fact, we did break out. It doesn't look like it on the weekly time frame, but on the daily chart, it looks like we had a breakout. You had this. Let me pull up the pen here. Where's my pen? Where did my pen go? Okay, so I mean, you had this pattern where it was like you could either drop from back here, or you could even say it was this inner, you know, the consolidation period right through here. Well, it broke out. So far, I'd probably be targeting upwards of around 144 to 145 for starters. Maybe the high right here, but it really looks bullish. We'll see what happens. Yo, how's it going, Philly? How's it going, Dwayne? Yeah, Dwayne, I was looking at that, and is it an error, or is it the earnings haven't come out yet for the rest, you know, for the last 2 quarters? I mean, it's kind of, I was trying to dig up some more information on that. And not that I'm, like I said, it's like at this point, the earnings could be miserable, and I don't know. I don't know if that'll affect the prices of the stock. So, SMH, amazing day, but let's look at the week. Amazing week. Again, it's hard to say that there's anything really bearish here. TLT, I did like this action in TLT, which I thought was interesting, since TLT was not confirming the market. It doesn't always have to. They don't always correlate. It's just interesting to see where yields are versus, well, rather where bonds are versus where stocks are positioned for the week. And so it was kind of interesting to see this bullish consolidation. It is technically in a downtrend, so we'll see in the next couple of weeks. The Qs. Again, if I had to put any money on any of these indexes, I think I would have to go with the Qs, only because they were lagging. I know they've been not lagging since the March lows, and I guess I should say the IWM and the other markets were playing a little bit of catch up. But it now looks like the Qs want to break out, probably closer than any other market. Let's look at the IWM since we're speaking about that anyway. It's phenomenal. I mean, where we're at, where the prices are out on the chart, phenomenal. Not necessarily willing to just step in here and go long. I would like to see a little bit of consolidation, at least for a week or two, but we'll see how the week plays out. Maybe if you're going to take long positions in the broad market, to just lower the position sizing a little bit. SPY, almost positioned like the Qs, except for the difference is the SPY, we are above the old September and November highs. And when I say November, I mean the virus highs that were back here on 11/9. The vaccine news. Okay. Dow Jones. Again, it consolidated last couple days. Let's look at the weekly chart. I don't like this 10. Okay, here we go. And yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't necessarily know if there's a trade to be had in the broad market, you know, as far as on the actual index themselves. I think that it'd probably be better to go with the stocks at this point, individual stocks. You know, and I can kind of go through here a little bit with the futures. I do like to look at the future charts. They do paint a little bit different of a picture. It looks like NQ is definitely working on breaking out. We'll see in the next couple weeks. I'm not too happy with gold. I was hoping for a little bit more out of gold. It did close back below my price around the low of this candle, and I'll show you what I'm actually, let's zoom in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I was looking for some sort of test off of this price area right here, and an actual price is $1,806, give or take. I wanted to see price stay above that. In fact, I wanted to see a retest of this 50-period moving average and then for it to rally away. Well, it didn't rally away. It looks like it's consolidating still. So let's see what happens. We might find ourselves back down sub, definitely sub 1,800, but sub 1,750. Maybe it'll have a little bit more to fall. The dollar, still the same old downtrend. Not looking good. Definitely not looking good, which is interesting to see the dollar selling off with gold, but it can do that. It doesn't have to always trade one way or the other. They could both be headed lower. Where are we at here? ES futures, same thing. It looks like it wants to break out. Maybe it'll consolidate for a couple more weeks here. It's pretty remarkable as it is. Pretty remarkable. Let's look at the financials. This is definitely something interesting. I was going around looking for different stocks. We are in a Wells Fargo. There's a few banks that I'm in long term. Definitely holding. I'm going to hold out. I'm waiting for this financial market to get up here in the range of $29. I don't know if that will happen. I can't even believe that we're at the prices we're at right now. But if it does happen, I'll be looking to scale back on some of my longer term positions. Let's look here. RTY, same as IWM. Let's just keep going. Transports, absolutely on fire. Nothing to really say other than it's bullish. USO, I don't really trade the oil market as much anymore. I used to trade a lot more. Something is to be said where price is at. It could be putting in a higher, or I'm sorry, it could be putting a lower high compared to the others that were back here, like the lower high right here, or this lower high. There's one here. Maybe this is another one in a longer term bearish consolidation. Like, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is this was a bottom back here when the futures dipped. When the futures dipped back here in April and they went negative, maybe that was the time to get in when they went negative, but who wants to get caught with 100 barrels of oil? You know, bottoming process things are like a process. So in my opinion, like, this could keep rallying here, but I think it's not going to just rally all the way back up here to $100. I think the oil market, especially with the way electronic vehicles are coming out, more and more governments are putting in place, you know, solar and wind, and I don't know where the oil market's going to be in a few years. Who knows? So that's pretty much as far as the broad markets I'm looking at, unless you guys wanted to get into the treasuries, which I don't think it's totally relevant. That's where we're at. Let's get into your guys' stuff here. There are a lot of things that were on watch, but if you guys want these back on the watch, just let me know. I'm going to start removing them. Wait, is this the watch list we had? This might not be the right one. In fact, I don't know if this is the right one. Hang on. Oh, maybe it was callouts. Callouts. That's cool. I just erased my watch list. Let me catch up on comments here. In the US dollar, gold is underperforming, but not necessarily gold. Seasonally, gold doesn't perform until right. That's a good point. I should just close what I have left of GLD and just. I was gonna start loading shares, but I think at this point, going back and looking at the chart, like, it all looks great on the daily chart as far as, oh, do I want to step in and be a buyer? I mean, on the weekly chart, daily chart, but even the monthly chart, it's like, we could pull all the way back here to 147, you know, 157, 147. We could pull back a little bit, maybe come back down here and test one of these moving averages. But that's so far away, it's hard to even, like, say, you know, that's when I want to be a buyer. I think you're right. Maybe take a look in January and see what's going on with it. You know, so we'll see here. Okay, so let's get into your guys's. And there was a few I wanted to look at, but Some of these actually still look pretty good, like this TTMI. What am I on the daily chart? Okay. Some of these don't look bad. So I think we were looking at that one. Tesla, we'll see what happens with Tesla. All right, where are we at here? By the way, who is wanting to look at this Airbnb? There's a few IPOs in December. I'm definitely interested in. The way I usually play IPOs is I don't, I usually just wait. I'll wait it out for a little bit, and so even when Lyft and Uber were doing theirs, like it was weird. I didn't want to totally get FOMO, but back in 5.6 back prior to June, I got a little bit of FOMO because I thought this first dip right down here was going to be it, and it was going to rally away from that. You guys can't even see the whole. There we go. I thought it was going to dip back here, and then it was going to rally and would never see those prices again. I kind of FOMO'd a little bit, and then August through November, I thought it was pretty remarkable. I think we did play this back to the upside back then, and then got out of it somewhere halfway up through here. Pretty amazed to see as low as we got back in March of this year, but that's usually with IPOs. I'll let it play out for a little bit, and then I'll start looking at getting involved, especially if we start playing back to the upside. We start taking out some levels of resistance. I'll definitely want to get involved. And I actually have a list here for IPOs, and a lot of them are doing pretty well. I still see a little bit more upside with lemons, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Snow is absolutely phenomenal. I thought this back here on 1022 was going to rally from there, and it definitely needed more time. It needed to consolidate a little bit longer. We'll see what happens. It can easily fall back here and fall back down to support around 277, and since maybe this was prior resistance, and maybe it'll turn it into support. But now that I do this, and I kind of see this area is a consolidation. I don't know necessarily. Usually I'd like the bullish part of that to start down here instead of right here. But this pattern looks like it was consolidating on some sort of support before it rallied away from that area. So as far as IPOs, I don't like to get involved the day of. As you can see, Snow rallied all the way up to 318 on the day of, and then pulled back substantially, minus 20%. So that you'd have to endure a lot of pain for a long time before it became profitable. So we will see. There's a few IPOs that I want to look at. Okay. Call outs. Okay, MGM. I like it. Sometimes people might even look at this as a reversal candle. Well, maybe not. I don't know. All I know is, to me, it looks like it ran up here to test this 29.22. And I'm going to zoom in a minute. I want to see the full picture here. Ran up to test, it pulled back a little bit. So we can easily just continue higher. There's going to be some resistance around, let's call it an even $30, but I believe there's a gap back here. Update available. What's that about? Maybe it said unavailable. I don't know. If I do this, there's a gap back here around, yeah, let's say it's around $30. I mean, it could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but there's definitely going to be resistance here in this gap. It's also an even number, and not just that, it's where we just came from, right? It's the extension of the move where we just came from. Around this $23 price area, we're already 25% higher within a matter of 2 weeks. So it can definitely keep running. I would just be mindful of the potential resistance just overhead. So maybe it would look like something like this. Is we saw this, let me do this drawing tool. We saw right here where it kind of gapped higher, and then it decided to consolidate. Maybe it doesn't have to be that long in time, but maybe we could just get a little bit of consolidation. Is if it can put in another higher low, something like that, as far as keeping an eye to the high side. You could be, now I don't know if you're long or short what you're looking at, but you technically could be short against, maybe not yet, but maybe depending on price action, once it gets up there, you could be short against this gap. And I'll give you an actual price. The high, it's around 30.06. I think if they get all the way up to 29.99, they're gonna get through 30, maybe by a couple cents. So the candle intraday might look something like this, and we can kind of play it by ear. But let's say we do get higher prices, you might see a candle that wicks up into the gap, and then I 135% believe that if we got prices to go up into that gap, it will be rejected at a certain level. I don't know if that's going to be right at the gap, halfway up the gap, or all the way up the gap, but at a certain level, I don't think it's going to close the day up in the gap on the first try, if that makes sense. So if you were short, that would be a good area, depending on what price does. In my humble opinion, I like to personally see the reversal candles like this one right here. If I zoom in just a little bit, I like to see these reversal candles first and then wait for the retracement. So you saw this candle here. The next day was almost like a fake out where prices went down lower and then they came back up, almost looking like it was holding on some sort of support level before falling for 2 more days. But I personally like to wait for the reversal candle. And then now for the parabolic moves on the chart, like for instance, Tesla, where it's a parabolic move, sometimes they get so stretched out that they might not give you a reversal signal like it did back here on 2-4 of this year. On February 4th, it gave us a reversal candle. The next day, it gapped down the next day. So sometimes when the moves get pretty extended, so from the base of this all the way up to the high, not even the breakout, but the stock is up 50%. So that's something to be mindful of as far as it's trader choice. If you want to actually wait for the reversal candle, just know that sometimes you might not get a retracement of the said reversal candle. But that's what I'll usually look for, is I'll look for so going back to MGM, harp on it too much here. Want to be short against the gap. Oh, okay, yeah. So you are looking to go short. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Like this, we could say it's a little bit extended, but like at what price is extended? I don't really use the RSI anymore, but if you're using the RSI, at what level does the RSI say be short? And that's why I like to put it in combination of, whatever you like to use, MACD or RSI or, just price action or the types of candles. So what's on the watch list, Mark? Oh, and let me finish reading what you said, Philly. Light other casinos for this entire time, and then with vaccine news. Yeah, I like that plan. That's how I would see it. I definitely would be cautious on going long unless, like I said, there was a pullback. But that's what I would personally be looking for. Would be some sort of resistance up here. Now, and I don't know if that reversal will be for a few days or if it would be a pretty heavy reversal like we saw back here in June. It's kind of hard to tell. But you can kind of see the markets are gearing up for what I believe to be is higher prices. And so if I went back to the SPY, and I'm not saying that like SPY is going to pull MGM one way or another, but if we can get the broad market to help out a little bit, and if the broad market is breaking out or if the broad market is selling off, we're getting pretty extended here though, to where it might be a point where the broad market is going to correct a little bit. But just from where I sit, it looks like we have one more leg up in the market. And I don't know if I actually got to that point. It looks like we have, however many moves we want to count this. It looks like it wants one more leg up. And I'd be shocked at around $400 price target. But how could I really put a price target on anything at this point? There's no resistance above this area. So if we do break out again, I don't know where the market's going. But to me, it looks like the market wants higher prices. But yeah, if you can position MGM with your broad market trade, maybe it will help on the short if it pulls back. TBIO. How's it going, Super? What stocks we looking at? TBIO. How about that AAL? I'm putting that on. That was on your watch this last week. Holy cow! That was last Sunday. Let's see here. What was last Sunday? It was the. Oh wait, was it the 13th? No. Did I do that wrong? I don't know what date it was. Anyway, absolutely on fire this week. Coming into some resistance right now. See what happens tomorrow. Okay, let's go back to your TBIO. I think, did we look at this last week? There's one that it almost looked like it was the same kind of a setup as last week. It actually looks something like this. Well, maybe this was it. It had the same kind of principle where there was consolidation here and it ran up to it and then it was trading sideways. This might have been it. I don't know, but it looked really good and it actually did break out. This chart looks really good. I mean, if I was in this trade, the first thing I'd be targeting is the top of this resistance area up here. But I also don't believe that we'll just blast right through that area like it's not there. I think maybe, you know, as far as the daily close on and the weekly close on TBIO, it looks like definitely higher prices. It's just a matter of how much higher. I think we're getting a little bit. I mean, this is quite the run, 54% in, what is that, a month? I can't tell just by looking at. Yeah, month and a half. But that's what I would be eyeing. I'd be eyeing this 20 area. There's nothing wrong, nothing bearish as far as saying that it's going to sell off from here, but it definitely looks like it is bullish, but I don't know coming into this resistance area and how extended it is. Maybe some consolidation, some more. Let's check out in KLA. Ooh, I know what we can. Okay, so, and this one's kind of been a hard one for me. I stopped trading it a while ago. I wish I was in this trade. This would have been a nice little breakout here, although it didn't exactly shoot through that area, so it was hard to judge a breakout as far as if you're drawing this, you know, down sloping trend line. I like to usually see price shoot through that area pretty convincingly, and this shot through and consolidated one more day and then ran through. So, but overall, it looks like it made a high, lower high, but it's yet to be, you know, we don't know if this is necessarily a lower high yet. So now what we're looking for is a higher low compared to the low down here. So maybe it wants to consolidate a little bit. And if it did consolidate a little bit, maybe it would do one of these where we kind of work at it and then break through. But this is definitely going to be some resistance in this area. And I don't know if I need to actually, you know, around 35.97 since that line's already on the screen. For whatever reason, this line is on the screen, 35.97. So let's say it's that. But you know what? I'm going to keep this one on my watch list because I know it's got a lot of bad news in the company. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, and maybe it's a little bit, a lot of bad rep, let's just say. But to be honest, I don't really care what the company does. I don't care about the companies. I don't care what they do. And if the chart starts to look like it does one of these, maybe that's another scenario that plays out. On the watch list. Thank you, Super. Are you kidding with me, Super? Oh, long term. You're kidding about it being long term. All right, was that it? And I don't know, for me personally, like, we'll see what today brings. There are you know, my watch list is getting pretty insane. There was one I saw a couple days ago. I don't remember. Some of these are so insane, and even like with DKNG, where people were laughing when we're buying it down here. And I think I'm obviously sold out of this way too soon. It was somewhere in this area back here, and it's more than doubled that. But I've got quite the watch list going right now. I love what biotech did. I'm a little bit irritated. I missed it. I was long back in here. I saw this consolidation pattern, and this is what it does. It kind of shakes you out of the trade. And so I was back here watching these candles, and I saw these reversal candles. I didn't like these red ones in here, and I thought price at the bare minimum would come up and just keep testing these prices and then just fall short of that. It looked like it possibly wanted lower prices. I should have been a little bit more confident in this candle here, because obviously it looked like some sort of bullish consolidation, but it definitely faked me out. Let's check good old Piton. And this is another one of those scenarios where it could go either way. It's like, you know, I could see myself getting back into Piton one direction or another. It's a little bit, it looks like it kind of wants to build up here. I do like the consolidation that it just, there's several ways you could look at it as consolidation. This is one of them overall. We could also look at it and say, well, it did run up here and it just came down and back tested this prior breakout. And since then it has back tested it again and then took off. It looks like it's consolidating now just based on this price action right here. It looks like it's consolidating for higher prices. So if we can get a breakout above, let's say 112, might put an alert in here. If we can break out above 112, I would be looking to do maybe a spread on it or just naked calls. We'll see. Or shares. You know, pick up a few shares. Oh, thank you for reminding me about that, Mark. Mark says November 30th is in KLA lockup period. You know, there is a few companies, and I just saw one. Oh, you know what? And I think Thor has that same. Might be why it's selling off a little bit here. Or I think it was on December 2nd, 3rd, or 4th where they can start selling their shares. I'll have to check the actual dates on that just to be mindful of it. I think that pretty much wraps up for me guys. Oh, you know what too? There were a few that I saw. I know how Mark loves these broad market, but I saw a few. Netflix was one of them. It looks like it's definitely coiling up here. Yeah, there's, you know, some resistance up here, but this price action looks pretty good, and you can see recently it's just been kind of coiling up here. If we can get a breakout above the moving averages, that I'd be looking to go long on Netflix. But then again, I can also see this drop taking out the lows one more time just to fake everybody out and finally test this 200 period moving average, although it would probably come just below the 200 period moving average. ECG, I saw some news. Did you guys see the news over the weekend about the brick and mortar? They had like the worst, obviously the worst Black Friday in history, but pretty bad. Online did really well, but I believe, you know, we'll see what happens tomorrow, coming into tomorrow. I heard it was pretty bad. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for me. That's it for you guys. Thank you guys for joining the stream. We will meet next week. We'll see you on in the Discord, rtbtrading.com. Go there for the free trial period. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.